Welcome, everyone. I'm Diane McKeever. I am the Education Chairman at the Minnesota SCORE Chapter. And today we are going to have, I think, a very interesting webinar for you, Grow Your Business with a SWOT Analysis, one of the most fundamental tools available for businesses. We are happy to have representatives from TD Bank with us. Well, one representative at the moment. We have Rob West, who may be joined by Tiffany Kelber a little bit later when she's probably with a client right now, and we will hope that she can join us. But before we get started, we have to do a little business, of course. So what is SCORE? SCORE is a nationwide nonprofit organization that is a resource partner of the Small Business Administration, the SBA. We provide small businesses with free confidential business mentoring in person or online, which most of it is online these days, but it can be in person. Our chapter, I'm very proud to say, has nearly 90 volunteers waiting to help you. So whatever part of your business you're in, whatever stage of your business you're in, think about getting a SCORE mentor. Our chapter recently was named District Chapter of the Year. Since its founding in 1964, SCORE has assisted over 11 million clients. So when do we help you? Well, we help you at all phases of your business. If you're just thinking about a business, that's a great time to apply for a mentor. If you're in the startup phase, you've actually opened and you realize it's a little more challenging than you thought it was going to be, that's the time to apply for a mentor. You want to grow your business? Absolutely, we can help you. We can give you some strategies for that. Or you're selling or exiting your business. We have a team that's dedicated to just that. So please consider applying for a free mentor. Also, I'm encouraging you to visit our website, minnesota.score.org. That's where you can go to request a mentor. We have a couple of buttons there to help you. Or you can find a workshop like this or other events. We have an amazing lineup coming up that I'm going to talk to you later about. You could look for podcasts that we have recorded or other resources. We have lots of templates on there. So if you're looking for a template of any kind, check out our website. And lastly, I want to thank our sponsors, our community partners and sponsors. Then that includes, as you can see, TD Bank. Thank you for being a partner with us. Yay, exactly. Thank you so much for helping us. Thank you, Galena, who thinks that the mentors are useless. Maybe you should apply for a different one. All right. Well, let's get on and start our presentation. Rob, take it away.
Well, hello, Diane. Hi, everyone. Thank you for having me and Tiffany. I think she's just signing in. So I'll chat a little bit as she comes on camera.
Hey, Rob.
Hey, how are you doing?
I am getting the camera up and running. I had a little bit trouble logging in. Sorry, everyone.
All right. Glad you're here. So as you're getting ready to come on, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my name is Tiffany Cleaver. I am a relationship manager with TD Bank, and I specialize with small businesses. So generally speaking, I work with clients up to $10 million in annual revenue and loan needs that are at less than $1 million of exposure. So that is my predominant job. I work with all types of lending, including commercial real estate, equipment financing, SBA loans, so on and so forth. So look forward to this presentation and answering any questions that you guys might have throughout.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. So everyone, I'm Rob West. My job at the bank, I work in community development. I cover Central North Florida. And what I do, I reach out to nonprofits such as SCORE. I look for organizations who are helping small business owners, people in low to moderate income areas, make sure they have access to capital, access to banking, or access to the information. So I spend a lot of my time doing this. So this is the best part of my job. I also work with our philanthropy, and I also work with our leaders. So when things need to be bubbled up, I'm that voice, and I bring your word from the street all the way up to the ivory towers. So thank you for allowing me to chat a little bit. So I know most of us are on mute, which is great. But at any time, if you have a question, I really like for this to be conversational, because if I just go slide to slide, it might be boring. So feel free to raise your hand, and maybe Tiffany and Diane could check that, as well as you can just come off the mute and say, hey. So we're gonna jump on in.
Help.
All right, so we just jump on in. Many of you maybe are in business, you're established business, or maybe you're thinking about starting a business, you're a startup. How do you know what you're doing? How do you know if your product is the right service for everyone? So you need to analyze the market. So I'll give you a quick story. My mother, she makes great pound cake. So she'd take pound cake to church every Sunday. She would sell it. Someone said, hey, Betty, these are some great pound cakes. Why don't you go sell these? So she went to the flea market. She sold a whole bunch of them. And then she called a place like SCORE. And after she figured out all that was needed, she was like, I don't want to do this. Because you have to have a certain type of kitchen, a certain type of oven, you have inspections. And she's like, you know what? I just want to bake cakes. So she learned very quickly not to be in business. But what you want to do, this workshop, we're going to talk about small business owners, analyzing the market. So if you go to the next slide, most businesses are very good at what they do. They're very good at the widgets. Maybe they're good at the service, but they may not be good business minded. So you want to see what you can do that's better than your competitor. Everyone sells pound cake. What makes your pound cake better than others? So while I haven't been in business, I have been a sales manager, and I've had to grow my business. So I'll tell you a couple examples. So when I got out of college, I spent some time in the Marine Corps. I got out of the Marine Corps. I was hired by Walmart. I learned a lot about business working at Walmart. What makes Walmart unique is, one, they are a low cost business. They're going to come to the market and say, we have the lowest prices. Also, they're very good at distribution. When I worked at Walmart, if something was bought, it was replenished in the store within 3 days. So a lot of times we would, this is a nasty trick, this is like 20 years ago, we would go to another retailer, we would buy up their whole counter of toilet paper. This was before there was no pandemic, so we'd buy up the whole counter of toilet paper because it took them 7 days to replenish it. So yeah, that was a nasty trick. So those customers who went to that store to buy toilet paper ended up coming to Walmart because Walmart had it, and we had a great distribution. So that was our strategic advantage. So I'll pause a second and I'll ask those who are on this call, if you're in business, what do you think your strategic advantage is?
You can add those to the chat if you want, and Rob will have access to that.
Yes, you may.
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll probably get into it later, but think about your business. Is it your employees? Is it their intelligence? Is it technology? Are they reliable? So just like Walmart comes in with the lowest cost, maybe you come in with a higher cost because you have additional resources behind you to back that up.
Ooh, we've got some good answers. We've got my skills, personalized training and coaching, reliable, thorough, little or no competition.
Okay, very good. Sometimes it's first to market. So I'll tell you, as a bank, TD Bank, we're a major bank. We are not going to be first to market. At some businesses, maybe first to market. we might sit around and see, how does our product work? Maybe a year or two, you work the kinks out, we figure it out, then we come in and we could, maybe it's better delivery. So SWOT is actually an acronym. So S stands for strengths, W weaknesses, O opportunities, T threats. So go to the next slide, please. So you should be very intelligent, not only about your business, but also your competition. So in my old world, when I was a store manager at another bank, the store managers and the business lenders had IBIS world. So IBIS world is intelligence on business and industry. So if I went to call on a construction worker, I'd go to this database, I'd put in construction workers, and it'd give me all the trends. It'd give me peer ratios, profit margins, what trends are happening, is it declining, is it increasing? So I could talk to my client, pretty intelligently about construction. Because being a banker, Tiffany's a lender, we may not know everything about your business. We do a lot of research on your business before we go out to see you. You should do the same thing as a business owner. So there are different databases. I believe SCORE may have some. The SBDC has some. Colleges, universities has them. And some of your lenders and bankers have them.
We also had a presentation last week that many of our local libraries have them available free to their patrons.
That's right. And I like the word free. So a lot of this information is free. A lot of business groups have them. Industry trends have them. Industry journals. And you can check that. And I'll throw this to Tiffany. We have a database that we use called Biz Equity. I don't know if you want to chat about that for a minute.
Sure. So Biz Equity is actually an app that we use to help you monetize your business or to find out the true value. It takes your NAICS code, which is your registration code, puts in information from your personal taxes, your business taxes, your overall expenses, and generate what a fair market value would be. Now, again, this isn't a true appraisal. However, it helps us when discussing with clients, what actually is my business worth? What is my competitor, or who are my competitors in the area? How close are they in proximity? And what are other businesses around my segment and doing? So it's actually a very informational tool. We do like to use it. Again, I must state it is not an appraisal, but it's actually very interesting. You guys work so hard to build your businesses. You want to know what it's worth. So that's if at any point you're looking to do that, you do need to have been in business for about 3 years to have the most accurate response. But yes, the software is called Biz Equity, and we do offer that at no charge.
Rob, are you there?
Rob? Oh, it looks like he froze.
Oh, no.
Uh-oh.
Okay, Tiffany, would you like to pick that up?
Sure. So I believe, let's see, a good pick to freeze on. It looked like he was very inquisitive of what I was saying. So I think we're going to go ahead and go to our next slide. Generally speaking, what you want to do is analyze your competition. So again, this could be anything from what kind of services do they provide that are exact, but also what are some variations of other product services that they offer in your market. Who are they trying to reach? What is the demographic of the people most specifically interested in your product? What is the marketing message and how do they position themselves within the community? And then also on positioning their brand, what is their reputation? Quite often we can easily pull up various the the name just escaped me, various ways to find out exactly how they're helping the community and what their reputation is. Better Business Bureau will have a lot of information in regards to that as well. What are their guarantees, pricing, delivery options? So again, what is that channel that they're offering these products to the same clientele that you're possibly marketing to? And then overall, what is their competitive advantage? Is there anything that you see that you're not currently offering that they might have that upper competitive advantage against you on? So if we could go ahead and pause, I'm going to check on Rob and see if what's going on. Could you guys give me one quick moment? Oh, it looks like he is connecting. Hey, Rob.
Hey.
We lost you there for a sec. So I just went over the slide of analyzing the competition and wanting to find out truly where they stand in the market and what their competitors are offering.
Okay, awesome. And for some reason, of course, it would happen today. All of a sudden, my computer is doing a system update.
Oh, I did that last week, Rob. Fun time.
Classic. Do you want to pick it up here, Rob?
Yeah, I'll pick it up. So yeah, so take a look at the competition. Just think about your delivery, and also, think about what makes you different. And I'll give you another example. TD Bank, we feel that one of our competitive advantages is branch location, not necessarily in this market, but soon to be. But also, most of our stores are open 7 days a week. So that gives us a little bit of advantage over the competition. So think about that. So think about what you do, what you're good at, and who you're targeting. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, next slide, please.
Analyze your competition. Has it not changed on your screen?
If you go to the next one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay. Yep. So we're going to get right down into the meat of it. What is SWOT? So I remember taking this class years and years ago. The S and the T, these are internal. These are internal forces. It's all about you and your company. The O and the T, those are external. Those are things you may not have control over. So I'd like for someone to tell me, I think someone had already told me what their strength is. How about somebody else? What does your company do? What does your business do well?
I really liked what Leslie had to say when we scrolled up a bit. She answered saying, I'm changing memory care in America by bringing those with dementia out of their locked buildings and allowing them to prosper in life. And for anyone who has dealt with Alzheimer's or dementia, it's a brutal disease. And to know that people are able to get out and about, I'm sure that is a competitive advantage because you hear the opposite. So thank you for sharing.
Yes.
Okay, we also have to educate our clients.
Very good. Also think about your transferable skills. And I heard this with a company in Orlando. This person had a business and she was providing care to, she was providing services to the entertainment industry. So think of Disney, places like that. All of a sudden with the pandemic, less people going to Disney, she lost that business. She pivoted to healthcare. You might think they're two different industries, but because she was caring for her clients in a different industry, she has that same care and was able to grow her business in the healthcare field. Okay, other qualities, I think someone said educate your people. Trade shows. Okay, I like that. So, also when you think about, intelligence, data intelligence, think about going to trade shows. Think about going to organization meetings or joining an organization, especially with a particular niche. Think of Rotary, Chamber. Chamber of Commerce. Many of them have committees that you could be on. I said Rotary. When I was a calling manager, Rotary was a good source of business for me. So think about those strengths: knowledgeable staff, intellectual property, capital. Having capital or having good credit, that's a strength. So when you look at the W, think about, what can I improve? I need to improve my employees. I need to prove myself. Maybe I'm very good at business. I need someone to make the widgets. Or maybe I'm very good at doing the widgets. I need someone to do the marketing. Okay, also look at your competitors. See what they do and what they do well, as well as see what they don't do well. And also shop them. You know, Alicia said she's good at widgets. So shop your competition. I used to do this. I don't know if Tiffany's done it. I'd pretend to be a customer and I walk into a bank and see what they had to offer and how their service was. Maybe I could learn something. Also, it's okay to partner with people in the same industry. I see attorneys who do that a lot. Just because you're one attorney doesn't mean you specialize in another field. So having people you can give referrals to and get referrals from. Also, weakness could be resource limitation. So think right now, or the past 2 years we've been in a pandemic, say your strength was distribution. You were getting a lot of goods from China in a container. It was cheap. It was regular. All of a sudden, a pandemic, shipping is tough. Getting toilet paper is tough. All of a sudden, that's not a strategic advantage. Okay. And we'll look at the O. So internally, O, what are my opportunities? Is there an underserved market? Is there a niche market? And I've seen a lot of my clients, especially those who are certified, and I'm talking about minority certified, veteran certified, women certified, being certified business. They were able to win bids with municipalities as well as serve those underserved markets. So look at the opportunity in your neighborhood. I've also had clients before the pandemic, they were very customer facing and took cash. All of a sudden we have a pandemic, we don't want to be touching people or getting in their face or touch their cash. All of a sudden they went to an online business, that's an opportunity. Also, they went to a cashless payment system. So we might think of these as a threat, but also could be an opportunity to pivot and change. Is there emerging need? All of a sudden we need face mask, right? That's a great opportunity. And always look, in the press, look at periodicals, chambers, they have newsletters that come out. I believe Sarasota has a business magazine. Look at trends and look what's happening in your neighborhood. One thing that I have seen just looking at the Sarasota market, all of a sudden people are able to work remotely due to the pandemic. They are coming to Sarasota because it's cheaper than it is to work in Chicago or live in Chicago. Plus, working remotely, they can work from anywhere. So all of a sudden, you have an influx of opportunity. So think about that. Think about those threats. We live in Florida. Probably the biggest threat we have is weather. It's always going to rain. It's always going to thunder. There's always a chance for flood or for hurricane. So think about that. Think about the physical environment. And I was listening to NPR on the news one day, and this business hired a statistician. He said, I want you to look at our budget for the past 5 years. We're over budget every year. The statistician looked at the budget and found out every year something happened. 1 year it was a tornado, 1 year it was a blizzard, 1 year it was a flood. Every year something unexpectedly happened. So her consensus was expect unexpected and budget for that.
Rob, I wonder if you've done
The
something.
regulatory environment,
Sound?
businesses you're in, the IT, environmental. Think about that. All of a sudden, your industry has been hit with negative press or negative media. How do you overcome that? And also, customers' trends. Customers have different trends. All of a sudden, your customer like this. All of a sudden, they don't. Or think about the generational customers. You may have millennials who like this, Gen Xers who like this, teenagers who like that. So how do you and change to the forming customer needs?
Yeah,
All right, so next slide.
Rob, I wonder
I
if
think
Rob
we're-
interrupt you. Have you done something to your sound, your speaker, because
Yes, sir.
you've become very hard to hear?
Did your Bluetooth pick up on anything? We can't hear you.
Oh, I think Rob might have frozen again.
Hear me now?
Oh, that's better.
Go.
Okay.
You're back.
All right. So what part did I stop on?
We could hear you. It's just muffled,
Yeah.
Okay.
but now you're clear.
All right. Awesome. All right. Next slide, please. Okay. So think about your company's strong point. Think about how you service your customers. What benefit your company offers customers. Is it convenience, as I said before? Is it distribution? Is it something unique? Is your product or service cutting edge? So I'll kind of go back through some of my experiences as a sales manager. So I had a chance to work as a store manager at an athletic shoe company. So we were known for having every size. You'd come in, we had every size from whatever to size 15. So that was our strategic advantage. But what I would do, because we're an athletic foot store, I'd go visit the high school coaches. I'd visit the football coaches and say, hey, coach, would you like for everyone to have the same color shoe? If you bring your folks in on this day, your students on this day, your athletes on this day, I'll give them a 10% discount. So that was a way for me to help my customer with service and size and pricing. So then I started going to the basketball coaches. Hey, basketball coach. Hey, cheerleading coach. Hey, track coach. So think about how you're prospecting for business, and that can also be your strategic advantage. Next slide. And I'll let Tiffany, anything you want to add thus far?
So far, so good.
Okay. All right, any questions? I'll pause for a second.
There is a question. Can you see that question, Tiffany? I'm not sure. It's not something I'm able to help with.
This one is one coming from Alicia Nichols. She said, I'm experiencing unreasonable delay time at sam.gov at DUNS migrates to a unique identifier number per business. How do I expedite this adverse reality while the Biden administration promises deliverables for economically disadvantaged women of many colors, Black and Indigenous, per initiatives on SBA.gov?
We have an SBA representative coming up, I believe it's next week or the week after, who may be able to address this better than you folks, but feel free to comment.
You know, specifically in small business, you know, we currently don't use DUNS in Bradstreet. We mostly go by your NAICS code and a small business scoring model. I'm not sure if this is what you're looking for, but I can sort of speak to that algorithm and how that works with credit. A lot of banks will take their risk tolerances and create a custom business score. And the custom business score mimics what a Dun & Bradstreet number does. However, it allows us to try and, as a banker, mitigate risk, but also put our clients in an appropriate situation from a lending perspective. So for instance, your industry is taken into consideration, your personal credit score is taken into consideration. Sometimes there are also various reporting agencies that equipment leasing can report to, or attorneys can report to show payment history. So getting a traditional credit score for your business isn't as easy and as most would think. On the other hand, the good part about it is it takes so many different aspects into consideration, and it truly allows us to analyze the risk associated with your specific business and how you are conducting yourself. So again, when looking at I'm not sure, Alicia, if this is what you're getting at and how that transitions to, possibly, I'm losing my wording here. Let's see. Does this help? I'm not sure if that's what you're looking for. Hopefully that's what you're looking for.
And as I say, next week is the SBA presentation. I've just put a link to that in the chat.
Yes, I'm not as up to date on what they're promising with deliverables. I know supply chain issues are substantial, but more on that to come. The biggest thing that I can suggest for clients looking to continue to build their business and build their brand when it comes to business credit scores is, keeping in business for over 3 years. That helps elevate things. Keeping debt lower is always helpful. Trying to make sure that any type of payments owed to credit cards, leasing companies, that all of those are on time. These are all things we can do to boost our small business credit scores.
Okay, Rob.
All right, so very good, very good. I'll also add too, get to know your banker, get to know your small business banking lender.
Yes.
He or she can give you some advice and share some things from our side, because we're pretty, we do know some industry's trends, as well as we know what our risk rating is, what our risk model is, and we can assist you and give you some behind the scenes, just like Tiffany did.
I would agree. Similar to the SWOT analysis in general, each business, I love what I do because everyone does their business, their personal job differently. So I can't come in with an assumed set of facts. I have to actually ask questions, find out where you are, where you want to grow, and what your overall initiatives would be to get there. Each person, each business owner is completely different. So a lot of the time I do suggest that utilize your banker, ask them what they're seeing, see how people are transitioning with things like the pandemic. I know I have experienced some clients still want to meet in person. Others would rather a phone call, and it really opened up a lot of channels for communication that we didn't previously have. So again, like Rob said, ask your business banker, what's going on? What are you seeing? Have you seen deals up, deals down? What are you seeing easy to get through? Maybe not as easy. Do you know of any banks that offer lines of credit for my specific industry? How about credit cards? If you are at the very beginning stages, what would you do with your bank to maybe progress faster? Is there a set time frame needed for these types of items? And what do those limits look like? Just having a simple question or answer session with your banker, any of us will go to coffee, I promise with you. We love to go out to eat. We usually have corporate cards, we'll take you. But yes, utilize that, utilize the presenters and the mentors in SCORE or through SCORE, because each person's going to have a different perspective.
Ling wants to know, is it important to have an account at the bank you're planning on getting a loan from? Probably couldn't hurt.
Highly suggest it. So a little insider tip, the reason I suggest it is because for TD Bank specifically, and every bank that I've ever worked at, which is not very many, but sometimes we do get taken over and merging happens. But generally speaking, that custom algorithm that we take into consideration, a large part of that is, are there deposits on account? Do we have just a lending relationship where we're borrowing, or has the business owner chosen us to be their bank of choice and keep our business operating deposits with them? Those types of things definitely increase that custom business score and help build the overall picture when underwriting is in play.
All right, thank you, Tiffany. And I'll also add too, if you are a client, make sure your account is in good standing. I had a client who was declined because she had 10 overdrafts within a year.
Yes, as much as it can help you, it can also hurt you.
All right, so I think you went ahead, but that's okay. We talked about competition, pricing, distribution, market, service, all those things that are things that you should look at in how you're running your business. You go to the next slide. So we'll also say there are templates. If you go out to the internet, hit Google, and you put in SWOT analysis, there are actually templates. Some of them have the little 4 corners, and you put in under S, under W, or 2, and you write it out. So when you're doing your business plan, I say have a SWOT analysis. And SWOT analysis is something that you should look at periodically, at least yearly, if not twice a year, quarterly. This way you can make changements and adjustments. I think we're all waiting, us in banking, we're waiting by the news to see if the Fed's going to raise rates. That may impact your business. That may change your business plan or your SWOT analysis. Okay, so keep up on competition, market trends, customer needs, and ability to compete in the market. So customer needs, they're always changing. You can raise your hand or put something in the chat. Do you survey your customers?
That's a powerful tool, isn't it, to find out
Yes.
what the temperature of the market is.
Yes, yes. Feedback surveys. That's good. Frequent traveler to the Orlando market. I love amusement parks. Every time I go, I get electric. Actually, I think I put in a survey. I said the prices are too high, but I like the service. Okay. Anyone else?
Also, anybody checking their Yelp ratings or Google ratings? Have you established a platform for people to leave comments?
And if you have
Tracy wants to know, do you have an example of a completed SWOT analysis?
I don't have one here, but if you Google SWOT analysis, there'll be one online.
Many.
Many.
Go to our website, minnesota.score.org, and search there as well.
Okay, yeah, so you'll find some that are completed as well as templates. All right, next slide, please. Even though we're talking about a SWOT analysis, we're talking about a business plan, it all comes down to the 5 C's of credit. And most banks use this, and it starts off with character, your credit score, capacity, capital, and collateral. So I always ask folks, how do we know your character? I assume everyone's a good person, everyone's a good client. I assume everyone's going to pay me back. But how do I know they're going to pay me back? Anyone?
Maybe credit score?
Yeah, online present.
Payment history, somebody said.
Payment history. Those are all really good.
And I'll give you an example of I had a client, he applied for a loan, and just by chance, I just Googled his name. He was suing the city, the state, and the university for something. We decided not to bank that client. He was too happy and may want to sue the bank. Also, we use LexisNexis. They'll come back with a report. Anything else you want to add for character, Tiffany?
I do. So just talking through the motions of applying for a loan and what's really important. I think a thought out there is, oh, if I don't tell the bank's not going to know. And unfortunately, that isn't true. We really want you to be honest and upfront. That way we can tackle things in the beginning that could potentially be an issue. So when you do have your relationship with a relationship manager such as myself or your bank, talk to them about any of the hiccups you might have had. For instance, one that stands out to me is, have you ever filed for bankruptcy? A lot of times clients go to say, oh, I did, but that was 7 years ago. Oh, I did, but that's been resolved. I paid off and we're in full. It's completely not an issue anymore. It's past the time frame that the bank will find it. And I will tell you, that is not true. It's better to have said yes to that question. I did. It was in 2008 when everybody lost their shirts. It was a bad time frame, or it was my divorce. Give us that information and then let us take it. But what is one of the worst things you can do to really set your character apart is lie on that question. It doesn't set well with our underwriters. And for as much as you want to think, oh, that's in the past, believe it or not, it still comes up in records. This also goes with any type of criminal history, arrest records, anything that might be something that you don't necessarily want to talk about. I'll tell you, we hear a lot. Nothing really phases us. And the best part is say it up front. Don't hold that information in, because we can tell you how to approach it going forward.
Yep, very good. Very good. Yeah, be upfront, because we can mitigate most things if we know. Credit score. So Tiffany, is there a magic credit score number? I get this all the time.
Not a magic credit score. And not only is there not a magic credit score, if you have a business partner, they're looking at your credit score evenly as we're looking at the business partner's credit score. So if one of you is doing, high sevens, doing great, and maybe the other one has experienced hardship, that is going to play into the underwriting. Generally speaking, anybody who has 10% more or of ownership in the company has to provide a personal guarantee. And with that personal guarantee, we are looking at all of these 5 C's of credit shown on the screen.
Yeah, and I'll give you 2 examples. I had a client, she had a 620. She was approved. She had 2 lines of credit and she paid them off on time. Every month she paid them off on time. So the banks felt that was low risk. I had a client with a 770 who was declined because he had a mortgage, a home equity, a car for him, a car for his wife, and a car for his daughter. So even though he had a 770, the bank felt if something went sideways, who gets paid first, who gets paid last? And we didn't do the deal. So there's a whole lot of things that go into your credit score, not just the actual score, but how you use credit and how you maintain it. So it's also very important.
And for as much as you're using credit, it's important to, I had a client once who had a score in the 800s, but the last time he had borrowed was 50, 60 years ago. We want to see updated history. We want to see current, real life, real time data. So, if you, speak to your various partners on ways to help credit. I know there's plenty of credit counselors out there, but also diversify. Don't have all of your eggs in one credit card basket. Make sure you have a mix of long-term debt, short-term debt, and revolving debt.
Yep. So if you manage your credit well, you pay off your notes, you pay people back, that also points to your character as well. Another C is capacity. Do you have the capacity to do the job? Do you have the capacity to pay us back? And I had a client, he applied for a new business. He said, hey, Rob, I want an SBA loan. I just got out of the Air Force. I've been in the Air Force for 20 years, intelligence officer. I'm Puerto Rican. I want to open up a Puerto Rican bakery. We said no because he doesn't have the capacity. He actually had a nice business plan. It had him, his wife who had a degree in marketing, and a master baker. We were like, if the master baker had applied for this, we'd give him the loan. But we felt if things went sideways or the baker left, he'd be out of business. And a year later, that's what happened. The baker left and went out of business. So think about the capacity you have in your business when you look to apply for access to credit. Also capital. Capital and credit kind of sounds crazy, but you have to have enough money to pay back the loan. Okay. Any comments on those C's?
Yes, also, the capital part. I get this asked all the time. How am I supposed to gain capital if you're not going to lend me? How am I supposed to do any of this if I'm a new business? Now, taking other options out of the way, just pertaining to conventional lending, there is a trial period where you're running your business for the first 3 years, and what you do in that 3 years is important. Are you investing back into your company, or are you taking it out and having every car payment you can think of? Have you managed your expenses appropriately? These are all important factors, but capital is one of those ones that I tell all business owners, you need to have, if this is your sole gig, you don't have outside income coming in. Are you saving enough to be able to cover all debt services for you personally, as well as through the new business initiative? And until you are actively bringing in an income, you cannot leave other types of jobs. Had a gentleman recently who was applying for a $999,000 commercial real estate loan. He had tenants in there, and so it was going to help him pay for the rent. Everything looked great. And as he bought this piece of commercial real estate, he was continuing to grow his current business while being a W-2 employee with another business. In the middle of the lending, he decided, oh, I think I'm approved, I'm good, I'm leaving my 9-to-5 job, and I'm gonna focus solely on my new business. The real estate's almost done, I have multiple income streams, and he did this before we closed. He left his current job. Well, we wanna see that income coming in. We wanna know that as your business is growing, we're not taking all of the income to support a loan, but that you can support your family first, your business, and then also the debts that you take on additionally. So capital is a big one, making sure that you've saved up, that you can cover, 6 months of bills with no income coming in. These are all things that we look at through the use of a personal financial statement and other documents needed at the time of application.
We've got a question about how about asset-rich, cash-poor borrowers?
That's a tough one. You really want to have a balance of both. And a lot of times I see that in real estate, where the real estate values are significant. However, a lot of the clients have sunk their capital into the real estate. New HVAC systems, roofs, those are big ticket items. So honestly, we really want to see a mix of both, that you have cash coming in, but that you also have a reserve supply. And I don't mean to make this all about lending, but I think that when we're analyzing our competition and we're seeing how to access capital, it's important to know what everyone is doing, what the industry trends are, and how that really equates to the SWOT
Can you
analysis.
touch on construction loans for startups?
Oh, those are two words that I don't like: startup and construction. Honestly, I can't.
Independently, they're good. Together, not so good.
And unfortunately, not so good on their own. So at TD Bank, we only do construction loans over $1 million. So that takes me out right away from a lending perspective. I can't add more information. But startups, that's a tough one. Any startup that you have, I would really look strongly at an SBA organization that specializes in startups. Usually with a startup, we're asking for business plans, projections, and some type of financial indication to see how you would perform at the get-go. So both of those are incredibly hard types of lending. It might be better suited with a specialty lender.
If you deny someone, do you tell them what they need to do to correct the situation? Do you also help customers get grants?
We don't tell them how to correct the situation because obviously there's liability in everything. I can explain to you what the financial data says, but I can't advise you on next steps. In those types of situations, I would rely on Minnesota SCORE or other business professionals such as attorneys, CPAs, to discuss what maybe those shortfalls are. However, we will talk in broad terms. So for instance, if you are highly leveraged, I have a client right now who is looking to buy a piece of equipment to take on a $3.5 million contract with Hillsborough County. Unfortunately, his debt service is pretty high. He has bought other pieces of equipment to help him with his current business. So unfortunately, it was something where cash flow came into play and he couldn't service the debt the new debt in addition to the previous debts. And his automatic question was, well, can't you take into consideration the fact that I just have this $3.5 million contract with Hillsborough County? And the answer to that is no. If you are not working with SBA and you are simply looking at conventional financing, we can only use your most recent tax return to count cash flow. So when it came from the 2020 timeframe and the 2021, some businesses stalled, others increased production. Again, though, we could use the 2019 up until the end date of the 2020 tax extensions. I hope that helps.
All right.
Okay.
So Bob wants to know, can we talk about
this up? Go back to the SWOT analysis. So I hate to talk too much about individual lending.
Yeah, so, the last C is collateral, and that could be equipment, it could be a building, it could be land. So I just want to show the 5 C's because if you don't analyze the market, you may be behind when you go to apply for credit. So this is very important. So there really isn't much more to talk about SWOT analysis unless you have some questions. But I see that a lot of business owners don't take time to think about their business or to plan their business. So take time to write your business plan, and a SWOT analysis is part of that plan. Maybe it's a quarterly update. So make sure that you're surveying the market, you're looking at your strengths, your weaknesses, and also your opportunities and threats. So as I mentioned, there are many resources online. Also, we have some small business resource on our website, tdbank.com, as well as you have Tiffany. So Tiffany is the relationship manager in that market in Sarasota. So please reach out to her, and there's some great opportunities. I also will add too, in my job working in community development, a lot of times the loans we don't want to do, we may refer you to people I work with. So I work with SCORE, SBDC, I work with CDFIs. Those are community development financial institutions. One in the area that I work with is Black Business Investment Fund. Another one is Ascentus. And these are organizations that do loans that usually banks don't do. So a lot of times we refer our turn downs or business opportunities to those folks who can assist them. And a lot of them are getting grants from the state, federal, and different municipalities. So we can assist in that way. So that's all I have for my presentation. We have a few minutes. So what questions do you have?
So here is contact information for Tiffany and Rob. I'll leave this up for a moment. If you want to take a screenshot of it, you will, just as a reminder, you will in fact be getting these slides as a PDF, and you will be getting a link to our presentation. So I just want to remind you before we get into any more questions on the importance of going to our website. We have given you a great QR code here for you. If you're looking for a mentor, you can scan that QR code and it will get you right to the location to apply for a mentor. Remember, we've got podcast templates, lots of workshops. We have weekly workshops. This is just one of many. Next week, we have the SBA, and SBA is much more than just loans. In fact, they have a lot of programs available to you that our SBA representative is going to talk about. So, questions? Rob can speak offline. Okay, well, you saw Tanya, you saw Rob's contact information.
Yeah, so CDFI, I'll just give you a quick, like a Black Business Investment Fund, Urban League. Those are some, but you can actually just Google CDFI and put in your zip code and they'll tell you what CFIs are in your area. So a lot of times they'll do loans that banks don't traditionally do, but they may have a longer term and a higher interest rate. And they usually require 6 weeks to 12 weeks of technical assistance, whether it's accounting, HR, IT, to help build your business capacity.
Who to talk to at TD in Miami for launching a new business?
You have my contact information, just
Right.
send me an email and I'll reply with who the lender is.
Good.
And it's robert.west@td.com. I know I just
pretty easy.
on my contact. Sorry.
Right. The most important email addresses. But we've got your cell phone on here too.
Yep.
So there'll be some texting, I'm sure. Sure. Yes, wonderful. Yes. Okay, so let me go. Oops, one too many. If you're looking for a mentor, this is the scan that you would use, and it brings you right to our apply for a mentor. Many of the tools that we talked about are going to be discussed further. We at SCORE have many tools, including the SWOT analysis that we talk to clients about. And so fundamental questions: what makes you unique? What gives you a competitive advantage? That's the very beginning of a SWOT analysis. So we look forward to hearing from you. Do you need to apply where you live or your business is located?
That's I'll take that question. Generally speaking, you can work with whoever you want to work with. I have a client right now who they live in St. Petersburg. However, their business is operated in New York. Generally, we have to just explain that relationship, how you do business from another state. And one of the questions that we're going to ask is our bank or our brand bank in both states? So I'm not sure if that answers your question, but yes, generally you have to be within our footprint. And the thought process behind that is, in the event of an issue or needing a statement, we need you to be able to get into one of our offices so that we can best serve you. Without that, we wouldn't be necessarily doing justice to you. TD Bank is from Maine to Florida, in case you are wondering.
Maine to Florida, okay.
Maine to Florida.
And you got the Florida assignment. Good for you. Maine is a lovely state, but it's cold.
I'm a true Floridian girl.
Okay. All right. I think we have no outstanding questions. I've posted your emails on the chat. So I think you'll be hearing from some folks. Thank you so much for your time and your knowledge and sharing it with us.
All right.
Very good. Thank you all. Thanks for having me. having
Thank
us.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.